I'm Karin Van Zant. I'm the CEO of the National Circles campaign. And I have worn many hats in the Circles campaign over the last 5 years. We started Circles in Springfield, Ohio in 2007. At that time, as a social worker, working within the city of Springfield and with lots of grassroots faith-based organizations and government social service organizations, all trying to tackle the issues. One of the things that I saw is that it just didn't make sense that we were all trying to get to the same place, but we weren't really working together. And so as we started to learn about what was out there that was working to end poverty, we came across the Circles campaign. And it was the first thing in 15 years of being a social worker that actually made sense. Poverty is not just about how much money you have in the bank. It's about all of the things that people have in their sphere of influence that allow them to be successful. Financial resources are one of those things, but only one. Spiritual resources, emotional resources, physical, friendships and relationships, really good role models, access to quality schools and quality jobs, all of those things are key ingredients to help people have a thriving life. As we started the Circles campaign in 2007, we learned a lot of the what not to do. Community development work, I believe, is the messiest work on the planet. We should actually be on that show with Micro, Dirty Jobs. We really get into the dirt of our communities when we're trying to develop communities across race, class, cultural lines, spiritual lines, gender lines, you name it. If there's an ism out there, you're going to run up against it in community development. We've been doing the work, we've been stepping on all kinds of landmines, but one of the things that has allowed us to be successful is that we went in knowing that we didn't really know what we were doing. We just knew that God was really calling us to be a catalyst in Springfield and in the greater Springfield and Dayton area to really heal the pain that was happening in our community. As we started the work, we found partners in the community that we'd never expected, like the Nehemiah Foundation, local church organizations, the Job and Family Services Department. Who would have thought that that would be a key partner in ending poverty? We found all of those folks that wanted to come together and really be a part of a comprehensive solution. We all brought our A game to the table, and because we all brought our A game, the niche part of poverty that we were really strong in, we allowed other people to be just as successful and on our team at the same time. And so we invited the government folks in, we invited the social services and nonprofits, we invited the churches and the faith-based organizations, and the key ingredient is we invited low-income people to the table. Because every program that I'd ever been a part of as I was coming up through the social work realms never had a low-income person or a person from generational poverty as a part of the planning and design team. They never asked the end user, what is it really going to take to get out of poverty? If I were to apply that approach to a marketing or a business plan in the for-profit world, we'd be sunk within a year. If we didn't really go out and do our market research and ask our consumer base, what is it that you really want out of our product? What is it that you really need to make your life better? We would be out of business in a year. And yet we have lots and lots of government social service programs that have never asked that key question. And so as we brought diverse groups together, we asked those questions. What are the barriers in our community? What's working in our community? Because don't believe the hype out there. There are great things that are happening in our community right now. Circles is one of those great things, but we have great things that are happening with kids. We have great things that are happening with seniors. We have lots of really good programs. Unfortunately, they're just not connected. And so why Circles became so successful in Springfield, and then we eventually, with John White's help and Fred Strayhorn's help, brought it to Dayton, why it's so successful is it's kind of like the mortar that holds the bricks in the building together. It's the glue, it's the social glue that pulls us all together. Because what we know is that the low-income people that are living in this community may be accessing 8 to 12 different community groups in order to meet their basic needs on a month-to-month basis. How do we know that? Well, we did a lot of brings those 8 to 12 programs that low-income families are currently utilizing and helps knit them together. How? Through a case manager, through a social worker, through another paid staff person? No. Through ordinary folks like you that really are being called to be in service here in Dayton. Ordinary folks like you that really want to become a part of healing the pain of this community. How? by just being there, being the cheerleader from the stands. We all know what it's like on a Friday night when we're at the football game and we've got the winning team. But have you ever thought about what's happening on the other sidelines when that team is losing and those players are just fighting as hard as they possibly can? Do the cheerleaders ever give up? Nope. And that's what an ally's role is, just to be a cheerleader. And I myself have utilized those 8 to 12 programs in a period of my life, lived just up the street from Fairhaven. So when my husband and I were down and out, did our parents throw up their hands and say, "Oh, I can't believe these kids, bad decisions that they made"? No, they loved us anyway and said, "Come on home. We'll help you guys fix this. We'll help you guys turn that around. We'll do whatever it takes to get you through school and to get you and our new grandchild back on the right foot." Well, allies do that in a very loving way. Sometimes it's through helping to put a resume together. Sometimes it's by just celebrating those small successes. Sometimes it's being the backup plan when an unexpected job interview comes through and we need somebody to watch kids. Sometimes it's just a cup of coffee and saying, "How was your week today?" It could be a text or a Facebook page post that says, "How are things going? Haven't heard from you in a couple of days." Much the same way that we're reaching out to our friends already. Those friends in our lives that maybe we haven't seen in a couple of weeks or a couple of months even, but we're still connected with them through the different types of technology, through the different types of communities where our lives overlap. That's what Circles does. Circles provides a way for us to build an organic community that's diverse. What we know about a lot of our churches is that we're a more segregated community on Sundays than we are any other time of the week. We tend to go to school, to worship, and to go to work with people that typically look, believe, and live like we do. Circles tries to break those barriers down by mixing it up a little bit, bringing people from different parts of our community together at one time. Their entire families come. We have a meal, because what better way to get to know people than over a meal? Then we have a program where we are talking about relevant issues. It could be anything from how to build teams, how to be a public speaker, what's our government like, what are the resources that are out there for back to school supplies, you name it. Whatever the circle leaders and allies find that they really need to learn about our communities and to build a relationship, those are the kind of topics that you're going to see during the Circles meeting after the meal. And most importantly, we're bringing our kids to the table. If we want to really be serious about ending poverty, we have to talk about our youth and the next generation. If we can help those kids with the support structures, the mentors, the adults in their life that are believers and that really care about them, they're going to make a lot better decisions during the critical years between the ages of 12 and 17. And as those kids start to make better decisions for themselves than maybe what their parents have made, they will end the cycle of poverty. So even if you don't have a calling to work in the life of an adult that maybe has made some bad decision or has fallen on some hard time, has been, dislocated from a job, maybe has gone through a recent divorce or has had abusive relationships in their past life, maybe you're called to be involved in the life of a child and see how their life can be transformed. This is a way for you to get involved and have the parents right there alongside of you as you're influencing that child. It's one of the few programs that we've seen across the greater Dayton area that includes intensively every week both the adults and the children in a family. It's a way for your family to volunteer together where you can bring your kids and husband and wife together can come and volunteer as a family in the lives of other families. It's a really transformational experience. So one of the things that you may be wondering about is, what is a circle? Well, it's pretty simple. A circle is like a small team or a small group. It focuses on one low-income person or family, and it brings around them 2 to 5 middle-income or upper-income families that want to be in their life. They make a commitment to one another for anywhere from 6 to 18 months to build relationships. Those relationships can happen in a variety of ways. I know in our community, we have a small university there, Wittenberg University, and some of the faculty have gotten involved, and we just know that during the summer months when they're on sabbatical or they're doing student trips, they may not be as accessible as during the school year, and that's okay. We know that some folks are here for the summer months and then they go south for the winter, and that's okay. We use all different types of electronics and technology to keep people connected during the time when they're building a relationship. The key ingredients for a circle are at least 3 to 4 dedicated people, one of them being a low-income person and the rest being community members, and they all have a common goal, and that's helping our community to be as successful as it possibly can be. If everybody has that heart and has that thinking and has that calling in their life, we can work out all the rest of the details. And those small teams have a lot of power, but the real power, the real community transformation that takes place is when we take 10 or 12 or 20 of those teams and start to bring them together. Because now we have all of these small teams that are working on individual goals, and they can leverage the successes from the other teams that are around them in community. When we have those small teams of adults all working together, it's amazing what happens to the children that just come alongside. Those kids make really different decisions in their life. They now not only have one parent or family member that they can go to, but they have 2 to 3 allies that are just like a part of their family, kind of like adopted aunts and uncles or cousins to in a family. And for a lot of our low-income families that may not have supportive, positive, extended family members, Circles becomes their extended family is going to be here to cheer the small steps and the missteps and all the things that are happening in my life. And that, for me, that's the grassroots movement that I want to be a part of. It's just another great story of outreach. What we know is that you have a lot of outreach programs, and you need to listen to what God is calling you to do. Every one of the outreach programs that this church administers is an important ministry, none any better than the other. And Circles is just one more to add to that list for those that are really being called into relationship. They're being called into bringing their lives and putting it front and center with other folks to see how can we change and transform a low-income person's life. And one day they're going to wake up and realize that their lives were probably more transformed than the circle leader. I hear that from allies every place I go is, you know, I don't really think that I helped my circle leader at all. I didn't really know what it meant to get out of poverty, but man, have they had an impact on me. So if God's calling you to be a part of something that's truly transformational, this just might be it.